What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to flip your first house. Whether that's a wholesale deal where you're basically just selling the rights of the property to another investor and it's a short-term flip, or whether it's a more long-term flip that you're actually purchasing, fixing up, and then reselling at a higher profit. These are going to be the best tips and strategies that I wish I would have known when I first got started in the real estate investing world. So the first tip I'm going to give you is that whether you're doing your own in-house marketing and generating leads, or whether you're looking at MLS deals from real estate agents, you want to look through a lot of properties before purchasing your first one. So you want to think of your marketing or your deal finding almost like cherry picking. I mean, if you were to look at 10 properties, there's probably one that's clearly better than the other 10. But even better yet, if you were to look at, let's say, 100 properties, you could probably find 3 or 4 that look like very good real estate flip opportunities. So by sorting through the different leads, you'll be able to kind of get a feel for what makes a good deal, what makes a bad deal, and you'll see kind of the opportunities out there and what's actually available. Because some people think that, oh, these types of flips don't exist in my market or different things like that, when in reality they may have only had 5 leads, or they may have only looked at 5 properties. You need to really cast your net wide in terms of looking for investment deals. Okay, so the second tip for flipping your first house would be, if you're going to do a wholesale deal where you basically find the property, put it under contract, and then sell it to another investor, I would suggest co-wholesaling it, basically partnering with another investor. Because for your first deal, you're just not going to know 100% how to wholesale a deal. So in almost every market, some of the top investors are going to have different co-wholesaling programs where basically if you find a deal and get it under contract, you can send it over to them. They might send it out on their list. They might even purchase it directly from you, but they're going to work with you to get the deal done. And you may not make as much as, let's say if you were to send it out on your own list, but oftentimes the likelihood of getting the deal done is going to be significantly higher, so that for the next deal, you can decide whether it makes sense to co-wholesale it or maybe just send it out on your own list. But I would definitely recommend that for doing your first wholesale deal. And for your first rehab, I would make sure that the property that you're going to purchase to fix up does not involve, second story additions or like foundation work or things like that. You want to really stick to more of like the smaller scale rehabs for your first project or two. Meaning, rehabs that might just involve, redoing the kitchen, redoing some bathrooms, redoing the floors, fixing the windows. Unless you come from like a construction background, oftentimes the rehabs are going to cost more than you expect and going to be a little bit more involved than you first imagined. Okay, and the last tip for flipping your first house would be you need some type of deal analyzer or formula for purchasing this property. So you want to have a very good idea of the potential profit that you're going to make from rehabbing the deal. So I like to use a combination. I have a deal analyzer, which is actually in the link at the bottom of this video. So I use a deal analyzer, which gives you a very specific number as far as your potential profit. Like it'll say like 35,000, 52,000, 100,000, whatever it may be. Or in some cases, if you purchase it wrong, it might say, 1,000, or even in some cases negative 5,000. So you want to use a deal analyzer. Another quick rule of thumb to use would be the Mayo Formula, the maximum allowable offer formula. And that's a pretty well-known formula in the real estate investing world. And basically the way that works is a very conservative, also very realistic formula, which states that the after renovated, you take the after renovated value, you multiply that times 0.7, and then you subtract for the cost of repairs. And then that should be your maximum allowable offer. So oftentimes that number is going to be very low, but it's going to be where you have to be to purchase properties. And if it's if it's a neighborhood that you're not so sure about, or a property that you're not so sure about, instead of multiplying it times 0.7, you might want to do times 0.65 or even times 0.6, so that you can be more conservative and build in a little bit more forgiveness with your numbers and your eventual profit outcome. So there you have it. Those are 3 tips on how to flip your first house. And just to recap, the first one would be you need to sort through a lot of leads, or at least look at a lot of properties on the MLS before actually purchasing your first rehab. You just need to know what's out there and what different projects are going to entail. The second tip would be, if you're wholesaling the deal, I'd probably recommend partnering with another investor. You're going to make less, but well, in some cases you might make more, since they might have a bigger buyer's list than you. But oftentimes just the likelihood of the deal going through are going to be significantly higher than if you just try to do it yourself. And if you're taking on a rehab, I'd probably start with a smaller construction project rather than, taking on some like new construction project where you have to knock down like townhomes or a single family house or something crazy like that. Stick to more of like the bathroom, kitchen type rehabs when you're first getting started. And the third tip would be to make sure you use a deal analyzer and the Mayo Formula. The Mayo Formula and deal analyzer are both at the bottom of this video, so you can practice with those. But those are going to be very conservative, very realistic numbers of where you need to be at to purchase these properties and and make a good profit. Hey, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give me a like, please subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video. All right, bye.